All right. Good morning, everyone. I am excited to be here with you today to talk about a topic that is really important to all of us educators, professional learning communities, or PLCs. There's a lot of conversation around PLCs, and with that comes some misunderstandings. So today we're going to take a closer look at what PLCs really are, and what they're not by busting a few common myths and exploring the facts. So let's start with the basics. What exactly is a PLC? A professional learning community is not just a meeting, it's a team of educators committed to working collaboratively on an ongoing basis to improve teaching skills, the academic performance of students. PLCs are goal oriented, they're structured, but most importantly, they're centered on improving student outcomes. This isn't just about collaboration, it's about really purposeful, data informed collaboration with a focus on the results for our students. Um, so, myth number one is that PLCs require a ton of extra time and resources that we just don't have. But the fact is that when it's done right, PLCs are really built into the school schedule and use our existing resources. It's not about adding more to our plate. It's about shifting how we utilize our time. PLCs can actually streamline planning and reduce duplicated efforts. So I like to think of it as working smarter and not harder. Let's see. So, myth and fact number two is about teacher experience. And so the myth is that, PLCs are only helpful for our new or our struggling teachers. But in reality, PLCs benefit all teachers regardless of experience. Veteran teachers, can definitely bring valuable insights and strategies, while newer teachers can offer those really fresh perspectives. And a lot of times you don't have that willingness to innovate. So everyone learns from each other, and it's all about growth at every level, no matter your background or your experience. Myth number three is that PLCs take too much time away from actual teaching. But the fact is that PLCs really support our instruction. When teachers collaborate effectively, they identify gaps in learning, adjust instruction, and are planning interventions. So the time that we invest in our PLCs really comes back tenfold in our student progress and our instructional alignment. Mhm. Okay. The next myth is that PLCs are just about, our curriculum content. But actually, PLCs really help us dive deeper. They examine instructional practices, assessment data, learning trends, not just what we teach, but how we teach these things, how our students are responding. So, this is really what makes our PLCs really practical and grounded in classroom realities. Our next myth number five, is that PLCs are rigid and they don't work for every subject or grade level. Um, but the truth is that PLCs are actually highly adaptable. Whether you're teaching kindergarten or high school science, the principles are of collaboration, data analysis, and targeted instruction can be applied in any content area. Let's see. Our next myth number six, is that PLCs should be free form and teacher led without structure. So the other side of the coin. In fact, structure is what makes PLCs effective. A consistent agenda, clear goals, defined roles. They really help teams stay focused and productive. So without that structure, meetings can tend to drift off topic, but with it, PLCs become more powerful tools for change. So we definitely want to be adaptive and flexible, but we do need a structured way to do so. Um, so I wanted to cover both of those ends because I have seen PLCs go very wrong. On either being way too rigid and inflexible, but also on the other end, just kind of having nothing in place or ready for discussion. So if you're too much of either one of those, it can really fall apart. Let's see. Okay, so myth number 7 is that PLCs stifle teacher creativity and autonomy. But the fact is that PLCs actually foster our creativity by encouraging teachers to share their ideas, try new strategies that they haven't before. PLCs, provide a safe space for experimentation and innovation, all while keeping our focus on student needs. So to wrap up, our PLCs aren't just a trend. They're a proven approach to continuous improvement in education. When we break through the myths, we embrace the facts. We see that PLCs support teachers, they elevate practice, and most importantly, they impact student learning. So really, thank you for being open to this conversation. I want to hear how you guys see our PLCs working or not working. Um, they should be valuable tools for teacher growth. They should work for all experience levels. Uh, PLC success depends on good organization. Focus on teaching methods is really key. Adapting to any school setting, encourage creativity and innovation, and then our ultimate goal, obviously, is better student learning. So, if you have any questions or discussion, you can ask your tables about that for the next couple of minutes while I set up our next our next activity. Or please, feel free to ask questions as needed to myself. Let's see. Okay, I think we are still in good condition. We are. Okay. All right. So, if we could wrap things up with our discussions, um, then we will move into the next activity. So, we are going to we've talked about our PLCs and dispelled some of those common myths, but I really want to share a powerful framework I think that really brings PLCs to life. DeFore's 4 essential questions. So these questions really help guide our conversations as professional learning communities and keep us focused on what matters the most, which is student learning. So the first essential question is, what do we want students to learn? This sounds really simple, but it's very critical. As a team, we must identify the essential standards, which, what is absolutely necessary for our students to succeed in the next grade or their next course. We might ask ourselves what knowledge and skills are really non-negotiable. What do students need to carry forward? When we clarify our learning goals, we can align our instruction and assessment across the team. It's not about covering everything, it's about prioritizing what matters most. So, our second question is, how will we know if students have learned it? So, this is where our assessment comes in, both our formative and our summative assessments. So formative assessments give us that real-time insight into learning, and our summative assessments show the mastery. But our key here is evidence. So we need to decide, what does success look like? What specific evidence will show that students understand the standard? And just without clear, agreed upon indicators of learning, it's really hard to know whether our teaching is effective. So the third question brings us really to the heart of PLC work, I think. How will we respond when students don't learn it? So this is where, our power of teamwork really shines. Together, we plan interventions, we reteach concepts, we provide extra support. We might ask, what strategies will we use? Who will provide the intervention? When will it happen? What will it look like? Every student deserves a second chance to learn, and it is our collective, responsibility to make sure that they get it. Then finally, our fourth question is, how will we respond when students already know it? Having a son myself who this really applies to, this is crucial for me as well, just as a parent to think about. So even more so when it's your job, when it's our job as teachers. But it's just as important as the others. Some of our students arrive with background knowledge, or they grasp those concepts quickly. Our job as teachers, as educators, is to extend that learning, to enrich it, and not just move on. So that might look like deeper projects or advanced tasks, cross-disciplinary challenges, or activities. So we want, every single student to grow, not just keep that pace. So if they're already there, keep pushing. So DeFore also suggests some important reflection questions for our teams. So just in closing, as you guys are looking at this, both today and within your teams, and within your PLCs, you might want to reflect on these questions as well. Which of the 4 essential questions do we currently address the most effectively? Or even, yourself as an individual. Which one do we struggle with the most, and why? What supports or structures could help us improve across all 4? So these questions aren't really just theory, they're meant to drive meaningful conversations and action. So when we consistently return to these 4 questions, our PLCs stay focused, they stay student-centered, and they are really results-driven. So in closing, DeFore's essential questions are simple, but they're powerful. They really shift the focus from teaching to learning, and they ensure that no student slips through the cracks. So, thank you guys for looking over this. I want to hear your thoughts. I want to know what questions resonate the most with your team, which ones you want to dig deeper into. Everybody has a copy of this, so please laminate it if you have to, but, really rely on this handout as necessary. And kind of just to, close us out, I wanted to show you this video. This is Rick DeFore, and he is discussing the importance of PLCs. So, we get the questions from him, but really a lot of our knowledge about PLC comes from DeFore.
The answer is relatively simple. There's never been greater consensus about what it's going to require of educators in order to improve student learning in all of their schools. Virtually all of the leading educational researchers in North America and all of our professional organizations have agreed that our best hope for improving schools is to focus on developing the capacity of the people within the schools. There's just been an international study done by the McKinsey Group by Sir Michael Barbour, and it